Well, welcome out there to my program once again. Always a pleasure to be here. I have a very interesting guest. This gentleman served many, many years on the Diman School Committee. Did a real good job. And a few years ago, he decided he didn't want to run and basically retired from that position. But as you know, Diman is a wonderful school, vocational school. It's been in existence for a very long time. Diman was started by a priest. His name was Father Diman. And he started the school because he wanted young boys to have some sort of an occupation. And this was years and years ago, when having an occupation was a very valuable thing. So he was having boys attend the school. They were learning different trades: carpentry, painting. I don't know if they had a machine shop at that time, but eventually those shops developed over time. And of course now Diman is a co-ed school. It has a very modern facility on Stonehaven Road here in Fall River. It has nursing and plumbing, electronics, not only electricity but electronics. And of course, the machine shop, which is probably one of the best around, with millions of dollars worth of equipment in that shop, carpentry shop, and probably a few others. Now, the school has been very successful, and a lot of students graduating or getting out of grammar school want to go to Diman, but one of the problems is that there is not enough space. So we're going to talk a little about Diman, but also what we're going to really be talking about with my guest to start the program off is a new foundation that's been started. And this is a foundation that's involved with what you might call special projects at the school. So when the school doesn't have enough money in its budget to do something, this foundation was put together so that it could raise money and do a special project for the school that is needed, but yet not in the budget of the school. So welcome, Edward Hill. Ed, how you doing?
Not bad, Richard. I'm glad we wanted to start off with Diman first because obviously you're a Diman graduate like myself, and the biggest thing is when I spent all that time on the, appreciate those kind words, but when I spent all those years on the school committee, I realized one thing: Diman constantly operates a budget that's called minimum school spending. That means we receive what the state gives us, and then the assessments to each one of the towns in the city of Fall River.
And the towns, Westport, Somerset, Swansea.
In the city of Fall River. And we never get any extra funding, because then you'd have to go back to each community and make that request through town meeting or through the city council, and that's just not realistic. So that was one of my goals when I got off the school committee, was to start an educational foundation. And I was a smart guy in the sense that I went out and found good business people, outstanding graduates, former staff members, and we have a board of 17 people. It took us less than 4 months to get all the approvals, so we became an official nonprofit. And we actually held our first meeting last year to coincide with the signing of Diman Vocational becoming Diman Regional. We actually hit the 50th anniversary of that charter being signed. And we said we were going to move along hopefully quickly, and we did. We had some donations, we ran a fundraiser, and within less than a year we funded our first project, which is with the auto technology shop. We are funding a service center which will be completed hopefully by October, and students will get an opportunity now to greet the customer, wait on the customer, order the parts, follow up with the customer, and follow up the day after the car's left the shop to see how they've done. And the key to that is that's an actually really job that you can get out in the community.
Right, a real life type program, the participation of the students in that facility, and that's going to be somewhat of a, you don't call it a service center, do you?
That's what we're calling. That's what they're calling it.
Okay, a service center. So yeah. Service to the customers. Customers come in.
It's even the day before calling. You know, like those calls you get. Don't forget your car's coming in. Also, when your car comes in for an oil change, they find out there's something wrong with the brakes. Who's supposed to call you? They're going to have that student call you and say, "We also noticed these other issues with your car." And the next day, the follow-up phone call, which is the proper customer service. How is your car running today? Here's the things we did with it. Want to make sure things are. That is a real job, and that by funding that The school budget is now saving $20,000, and we've given the funding for that. And now you can use that $20,000 for other projects.
Now, in other shops, do they have a service center? Does the graphic arts have a service center?
So
Or
it's
just-
funny that since the auto shop has kind of done it, I think a couple of the other shops are starting to look at it, because right now they go in and receive work, and they may be greeting people at a counter.
Well,
but
that's
it's
what
not
I
a
did
service counter.
At
It's-
the graphic arts.
Graphic arts is classic. They get a lot of work that's done through there. They need the outside work to get the practice, including inside. But auto body would be the same way. So there's a number of shops. I mean, we already know at Culinary Arts they have a public dining room, which gives that practice.
Wonderful place to go.
Right? Yeah, we know that.
He gave me hungry already.
Yeah. So there are a number of shops that's going to lend itself, I think, well to this. So we may see some other issues like that we're going to be able to fund. But the good thing about this,
Now, how did that project come about?
we actually put a subcommittee together that went in and sat down with the school administration, and we said, what's in your budget next year that fits what our mission statement is? It was not just to grab a project to fund. It has to be innovative programming, and this was exactly what it was. We're not into scholarships. The Alumni Association does a great job with that. We're not into duplicating services. So we put a subcommittee together. They came back with a recommendation to the entire board, and the board voted that unanimously. And then we did a fundraiser. We had some donations, and we've already turned over the check for $20,000 already.
Now, that fundraiser, that was a marvelous affair. Tell us about that fundraiser.
Yeah, actually, we did a dinner dance at the in downtown, and I'm going to forget the place. You're gonna-
The Old Eagle.
The Old Eagle, that's it. And TA Restaurant was actually the one that did the food, and we had the Mike Moran Band, and we got over 185 people there for our first event.
That was a big night.
And the other thing was, the key point here is what we do differently is, because we had a project we were doing in fundraising, we were able to go to banks and local businesses and look for contributions. And so Bay Coast Bank stepped up, gave us funding. La France gave us funding. Empire Hyundai gave us funding. And Frank Santos, a graduate who's on our board, also gave us funding. So we walked away with about $15,000 before we even started the actual project.
Now, recently, the foundation has been given an award.
Well, hopefully we'll be receiving it. I just found out, as a matter of
Okay.
fact, today that we're the Outstanding School Partner Award from the Mass Association of School Committees. One of the Diman School Committe members nominated us because they liked the work we did within such a short period of time and think we're a very good model for other school systems to copy. Despite 300 school districts in the state of Massachusetts, there are only about 50 or 60 educational foundations. So there's a major vacuum there of school systems that don't have foundations. And it's unfortunate because they're constantly depending on public funds. When there are private funds, you just need a mechanism to get that funding into the school. And we've created that for Diman.
Well, it's a wonderful foundation, Ed, and you were the one who was pretty much the catalyst for this foundation.
Yeah, but it
was
takes a team.
something you thought
Richard.
about?
It's nice to have the idea. It's nice to get it done. But I am very fortunate to be part of a member of 16 other outstanding individuals that have great ideas, suggestions, and we have officers and we have a process, and it's great to be part of that. And I know everybody wants to give me a pat on the back, but now it's time to share the patting in the back.
Well, you deserve it.
Yeah.
The organization has a nonprofit. Status of that was achieved rather quickly, and that is an incentive for people to donate, give money or other things, and I mean, donations can still be given to the foundation. Donations can be given to the foundation at any time.
Yeah, the good thing is we don't have an endowment fund, and that's a good thing.
Let's
So
say
if you want to donate, if you want to donate to the Diman Bengal Educational Foundation, you go to our new website, and it's dbef.net, and you'll see a donation link. You click on that, and there's 5 ways to donate, so you can choose any way you would like to send us some funding. It will go into the general fund, and it will fund the next project. We're not putting an endowment together so your money disappears for years on end. We're trying to make the difference now.
And most of the money that comes in is going to be spent rather soon, in a sense.
We're looking for a project every year.
All right.
That's correct, Richard.
Anything on the boards now?
Actually, we're looking to put a subcommittee to go in and start. We would like to have that October date go by with the new service center. I think that's going to make a big difference to promote a future project, because I think if people see it, know it's there, and they know what we accomplished, I think that's going to make it much easier to go out and get that funding. So,
Well, wonderful job by obviously by the Diman Education Foundation. Once again, Ed Hill, my guest, I mean, he was the one that, he was out there in the forefront of this, this project, this organization, so he deserves a lot of credit. As he mentioned, there's other members, but you need someone to start things off. Now we're going to get into a little area that you actually are involved with personally in an employment type situation. Is that correct?
Yeah, I've been fortunate. The career track I picked, it wasn't called this, but it's called the workforce development field. And I started at Bristol Community College, worked at Community College, Rhode Island. I worked at 4 or 5 other nonprofits, and currently I work at Southeastern Mass Educational Collaborative, where I'm a job developer for people with developmental disabilities. And that's
so
it.
What kind of, when you say developmental disabilities, we're talking about people who may not, you know, have the type of mind that...
Well, it's, you know, they were born for various reasons with a intellectual disability. They get diagnosed early in...
Physical disability?
Before the age of 18, they're diagnosed. In that way, they're eligible for services. And that's some of the reasons why an educational collaborative in Massachusetts was created back in the 70s. We're not the agency I work for, SMEC, Southeastern Mass Educational Collaborative, is not a nonprofit. People are very confused by that. Collaboratives are not nonprofit in this state. They're actually public agencies. They were created by the legislature in Boston, and it's to help local school districts to deal with special needs students. As you know, when a student is diagnosed, it becomes a product of the school district. They're responsible for that student from all the way to the age of 22. And that gets very, as you know, the services to provide to that special needs student can get very expensive. Sometimes they even outsource it. By putting collaboratives together with local school districts, like the one I work for, works with Dartmouth, New Bedford, Mattapoisett, Fairhaven. You put the resources together, you can actually make it more cost effective, but even better, it services the student.
So where do you get your funds?
Actually, it's state funded.
Okay, so this is...
and it's a reimbursement based on the services you provide, correct?
Do you have a contract with the state?
State has, yeah, it's various, not that I get involved in a lot of that because I'm only in the employment end of it, but if you looked at our brochures and you go onto the SMEC website, you see the number of services they provide. And I work for the adult division, which is called SAIL, which is serving adults for inclusive living. And through the 70s, we all saw people with developmental disabilities get out of institutions like Paul Dever. And they got put in group homes. That was a wonderful thing. Then they got put into sheltered workshops, which is a wonderful thing, but they were doing piecework.
So
this is not piecework. This is not that type of work.
When you say sheltered workshop, give us an idea, a definition of a sheltered workshop.
Yeah, what happened was, like I was saying, in the 70s when people were coming out of institutions, you just couldn't put them in a group home. Also, they deserved an opportunity to work. So agencies, nonprofits were set up, and they would then go out and talk to employers and say, bring us some of your work back to one central location. We'll supervise and monitor the people with disabilities, perform the work, and then ship it back to you. Now, great for learning skills, earning some extra income beyond being on Social Security, disabilities, earning some extra.
But they didn't live there.
No, that was at a facility, almost like a production facility.
So there was a facility, I don't know if it still exists in Middletown, called Maha.
Yeah, they probably had a sheltered workshop too at one point.
There's a workshop, and the people are bused there, or brought there.
Yeah, because they're coming from their group homes. That's correct.
Or from their homes.
Yeah, some people are still living at home, still right,
and
yes.
they would be, they would go there, and they would do these various types of work, making little things, etc. Is this what we're talking about?
Yeah, well, that's what a sheltered workshop is, and that has been now phased out by the Obama administration over the last it took about 4 years for him to start getting it so it trickled into the states.
Okay, why was that?
Well, you know, the word inclusion, you've heard that for 30, 40 years. Inclusion means you involve people with disabilities with all the regular routine of educational settings, but also it's now worked itself into the workplace. So to get reimbursed, the states now have been hearing from Obama administration saying they're not going to reimburse at a higher rate for that type of service. If you have private placements, your reimbursements will be considered higher because the individuals are getting more out of working with working on the side of you.
Okay, so this could be a regular company.
That's correct, and I'm going to give you some places we've got people right now.
Okay,
Yeah.
so in other words, these people would go to ABC
Flooring,
all right.
right? Then it's safe like that.
All right, so let's continue on with what I just said. So they show up at ABC Flooring, 8 o'clock in the morning. What might they do over there?
Well, we have various jobs. As a matter of fact, I have a list of jobs that people in Massachusetts with disabilities are working at, and it's actually a full page long. So it's hard to believe when you start thinking about it, because you look at some of our current sites, which we have over 100 sites right now, by the way. For SMECA, this was not this was an easy transition. Sheltered workshops being phased out. The Patrick administration doesn't want to fund it at all. Almost, he's much stronger. He has much stronger language than what the feds are. He's saying let's phase it out completely. The feds are saying de-emphasize it. For SMEC, this wasn't in sale. This wasn't a real hard change because they didn't have a sheltered workshop. They always thought the best thing was to put the individual with disabilities out in the community with normal folks in their regular workplace, and that's what they've always done.
So how do you get a company to get involved? A company might say, look, we do some technical stuff here. We can't, have someone that can't keep up with the work. So how do you?
There is not a company that has. I got someone here. I can use a fish processing plant. I got Fleet Fish right here. We have 5 individuals go there, and they have a certain thing they do there, and they can do it at the same speed as anybody else. Because I'm going to tell you what the difference is.
No, but what do they do there?
They could be cutting fish. They could be packaging it. They could be shipping it out, preparing it for shipping out. The key thing there is they have a job coach. Supported work says, will provide the transportation. Be sure the person gets there every day. And on the side of them, because the reimbursement so much, we reinvest right back into that individual. He gets to have, or she gets to have, a job coach with them all day long, who then takes them back home.
Okay, and that's part of.
And that's no cost to the company. The cost is the employee. They pay the company. They go on their payroll. Where the old sheltered workshop concept was, we figured out the piecework, and you got a check from the agency. Yeah. For this way, you're getting minimum wage or above.
Okay, so actually get minimum wage.
Or above, if they think the job they do, if it fits the company and it says this is what we pay for it, if the maintenance person gets paid this and we're doing some of the maintenance work, that's what we expect to get paid. And that's what, you look at Market Basket, let's hope they're working today considering what's going on. We got people at Market Basket, we got 5 different McDonald's, we got Olive Garden, Papa Gino's, Fleet Fish, which is a production facility, Chili's, 99, we've got a number of places. I mean, over 100 people place.
Well, okay, let's say there's a company out there and guy's looking to hire. And he says to himself, well, why would I want a person like that versus just have someone come in, fill out an application? What's the benefit to the company?
Unbelievable research. Once people it's amazing once you hire people with disabilities on your staff. Cooperation with the rest of the workers is incredible. The perception to the community is unbelievable. But even better, you get somebody that's so dedicated to your place, into your workplace, it's contagious on the rest of the workers. And the performance of that person, the turnover rate is so low. Because once they get there and they enjoy their job, they're not looking for the next space. They're looking to continue to have that
job.
And so if they look for something, it's going to be us helping them find something. So if you look at those factors, gee, I can hire somebody part-time to do certain things in my company, and I'm going to have all those benefits. And I'm going to have somebody job coaching them.
Are these part-time jobs?
Most of the people that we have, or if not all of them, are on Social Security disability already, which means they can work a little bit. So each one of them have so many hours they can work. And so my goal, that's my face, is to be out there trying to find enough sites so everybody can work their maximum hours.
Okay, what's maximum?
Some people might be 9, some people might be 12, some people it's only 6.
Per week?
For the whole week, that's correct.
Okay.
So some people work 2 shifts, some people only work 3, some people can work more hours. So it's up for me to find the right places for them. That's why when you see 5 or 6 people working at Fleet Fish, they're job sharing. They're keeping different people on different days working, so they're smart. Same thing with Papa Gino's. They're having certain people come in and do some production work before the customers come in, or cleaning, and they're using different people doing it. which is a good thing, because now you're not dependent on one person, because Richard calls in sick today, and Richard can't run his show. Who's running his show? They're not calling me to come run your show.
So actually, the employer can get someone who they can pay at minimum wage,
Or hire if the job's
or
worthy
hire.
of it, hopefully.
but they don't have to put them on full-time.
No, we're not looking for full-time work.
And
That's
they
not-
don't have to give them any insurance?
They already have, they all have their
Okay, well,
health
that's-
insurance, and
yeah.
all those type of benefits are not necessary.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm looking at why would, you know, an employer hire someone like that, but now that you're telling me these various things, I can see where an employer might have that incentive to hire a person like that, especially if they don't need someone full-time, especially if they don't need people, you know,
Some people go through seasonal changes. We don't like temporary things, but those do happen. Retail, which you didn't hear a lot of retail. See, my job now is to go into different areas. I'm looking for retail and production manufacturing, because I think there's a niche there for us. We have some very quality people. And I'm hearing from retailers, starting in September, we get tons of merchandise in, and it's in my back room. And I'm trying to get my current staff to go unload that. If I can have other workers come in for 4 or 5 months and work on that and get the stuff ready to go to the floor, you're really going to be doing me a favor, because I can't find people to do that.
okay, I can see. Okay, so anybody out there who's, Ed, they contact you, or who do they contact?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, they could call the Southeastern Mass Educational Collaborative on Welby Road. They could call the SAIL program on Purchase Street, but the best thing is to call Ed,
Yeah.
because I'm the job developer, and my phone number is 508-269-3038. That's my work cell phone. I'll answer at any time to get someone placed, because you know, one part we did miss is we do a good job. When you hire somebody, Richard, you interview them, and you're going to make that assessment, should this be the person that's going to do this job? What we do is, when you tell us you have a job, we go back and take a look at the skills that are necessary to do that job, and we bring forward the person we think is going to be best for that job. So we're actually helping you find the right person for that job.
You've already did the interview work, in a sense.
Yes. I mean, they still get a chance to make that choice, but we also put the right job coach in there, too. So the
Okay,
right job.
what is the job of the job coach?
To ensure when they look at the skill list and what the productivity needs to be done over that shift is being accomplished. Keep the person on task.
Does the job coach stay there?
Jobs coach stays there the whole time.
Okay, so the job coach brings the person or persons to the job, returns them to where?
Either back to our office to do some more skill development, or they end up going back to their home, their residence, which could be a group home, or like you said, back to their family.
Okay. And while they're there at work, there's a job coach. So you actually get an extra person? Is that?
They don't do any work, though. The work they do is to make sure the person that we've placed there is doing the job, because they need their job is to make sure they're doing their job.
Actually, you get an extra person on a job, right?
Keeping an
In a
eye
sense.
around for situations,
You know,
right?
I mean, a lot of businesses.
But also, you realize that what that does? Ooh, there's a little bit of an issue, or we need to change something today because we got this need over here. We already have a staff person there for you to talk to. Say, we're going to move over a little bit. We got some other work needs to be done today. Great. What do you need? Show me, and then they'll get it done.
So how many people roughly are in this program?
Right now, at SMEC, we have over 100 people placed in over 100 sites, obviously, because some are doing more than one job. But I am trying to expand I'm going to tell you again, because a lot of the names I just gave you were food service, which is great, and some of them were cleaning. I really think that we're missing the boat with retail, especially behind the store, getting the merchandise out, and I think we're missing in production. There's still enough manufacturing around here, and there's certain jobs that people can do, and I think those might pay a little bit more, and I think they could be more rewarding for certain people. Food service is nice and cleaning is nice, but I think we can go one more step.
Now, how long have you been involved in this type of work, all this program?
This particular agency and work has been 6 to 7 months, but my previous job, which I'm still doing part-time, is I'm actually a job coach for the Asperger Association of New England. So I sit down with individuals that have Asperger, that touch of autism, and I try to help them find jobs. They're already college graduates in most cases, and that's a whole different, because I job develop for that individual. When I'm working for this company, I'm job developing for our agency, and then we'll bring you the best person. But I've been in workforce development, like I said at the beginning, over 30 years, and part of that is running training programs and placing people.
Now, You said you did some work at BCC, is that correct?
I actually started my career out of college at BCC in the Office of Community Services. I was working for who's an attorney now, Sandy Fraze, and I was running training grants through the old CEDAR program back then. So I got experience writing grants.
Oh, CEDAR program.
Yeah.
That brings back a... And what does CEDAR stand for?
It was the Comprehensive Employment Training Act. And then later it became the Workforce Investment Act.
That was quite a program.
Then in between there was the Job Training Partnership Act. And Obama today signed the new act. And you want me to tell you what the name is? Workforce Innovation. It's the new Workforce Investment Act. He just signed it today. And the reason I bring that up is one of the key components of that is placing people, particularly youth with disabilities, in real jobs. That's one of the elements of this new Federal Job Act. So here we are doing in Massachusetts exactly what the Federal Job Act is going to encourage to do.
All right. It sounds like a very interesting and comprehensive program. How successful have these programs been? I mean, you know, CEDAR, federal program, was that a federal program?
Yes.
Spent, I imagine, like the government does, hundreds, maybe even billions of dollars. Was there any eventual benefit out of that program?
Hopefully, because I was a CEDAR employee once. I was actually, that's how I got my first job at BCC. I was a public service employment position for 1 year, and I stayed there for 14 years. So hopefully it shows, and that's the same thing with this. These are government-supported programs I'm working on now. But they're totally different because I think you're seeing people benefit completely from them, but not just the employee, but the company.
What about people incorporated? Is that's sort of different?
Nonprofit. See, there's where you can see the my former employer there is a nonprofit that was set up, as people were coming out of Paul Dever and other institutions. They needed a place to go and be serviced, and they are outstanding. They take it from the early intervention. I just used their services with a family member. They take it from the early intervention services, which is from 0 to 3, and then they help now you can see them, they help school systems, but then they really got a major adult division.
Okay,
that agency
we're getting down to the end.
Yep.
And how about the one on Griffin Street? I don't recall its name.
Community Connections?
Is that what it called?
There's another one. There's a number of agencies in this area.
All right.
There's Community Connections. There's Seven Hills. Some of them diversify and do mental health and others.
Citizens for Citizens. Is that
Citizens, they're a CAP agency. That means they're an agency that does the emergency food and the toys, foster grandparent programs. That's a whole, again, different.
Different type.
Yes.
Okay, Ed Hill, very interesting. We talked about the Diamond Foundation and this program. And you have any last word about this program?
Yeah, the key thing for me is
down at the end. Down.
Key thing for me is we got a lot of jobs in New Bedford, Fairhaven, and Dartmouth. Our service area goes all the way to Westport to Fall River. That's why I'm on this show. We want an opportunity to bring some of our consumers over. We're not looking to take places of what other agencies you're dealing with. We just want to expand the base.
Okay, so you get that from Ed Hill. I just want to give you an announcement. We're going to have another dinner dance, Friends of Cook Pond. That's going to be October 25th at the VFW in Tiverton. Once again, doors will open at 6. Tickets are only $15. You get the full chicken meal, all you can eat, and we'll have entertainment, dancing after. So keep that in mind. That's October 25th. That comes pretty quick. Ed, thank you for being on the program, and we're going to have you come back again.
Thank you,
maybe
Richard.
for
I really appreciate
awards ceremony and a little more update on the foundation. So
look forward to it. Thank you again
for stopping by.
Yep.